Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome to Ladies' Night, Women Empowering Women, where we read on women who've had amazing lives, or we read on historical events that have affected or influenced women in history or women's history. And tonight is going to be no different. We're going to talk about an amazing, amazing woman.
So, and you're bringing the sun. She's bringing in the sun, you guys. Here comes the sun. I love it.
Here comes the sun. Yes, hopefully. So, how are you ladies doing? How are you, Debbie?
Good. You can see I'm not at home. I'm in San Diego, trying to stay afloat with all the rain. So I have 5 pans all around me catching water that is coming.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
This little, I did some research, and the room that I'm staying in the house was built in the late 30s.
Oh, wow.
Maybe possibly 40s. I mean, the roof has been, obviously, they've done the roof since,
right.
Like saying. So it's older. Outside my wall here is where the pool is, but it's up a little higher. So if it overflows, it will come right into here.
Oh my
gosh.
So they've been draining the pool a little bit today because I got almost to the top. So
yeah, it's a lot.
Here I am.
You guys
I'm glad you're okay. Glad they're okay in San Diego.
Yeah.
And how about you, Andrea? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Up here in the Arctic tundra.
Yeah.
Happy days. And I hope everybody's well in the chat, and hope you all are having a nice, we're in the United States Martin Luther King Day. And so, yeah, we I think we all had a pretty strong feeling about this lovely, amazing woman we're going to talk about today. But an emotional story for sure. So
there were already tears backstage, you guys. So
yes, exactly.
Hold on for the ride.
Hold on for the ride. No kidding. All right. So we're going to be talking about the amazing Mamie Till. Mamie Elizabeth Till-Mobley was her full name when she got remarried later in her life. But her story is she was born November 23rd, 1921. And she was born in Mississippi. Her parents and she moved to Chicago when she was little, and they moved with the Great Migration to Chicago. And when she was 13, they divorced, and she took it very, very hard. And so she threw herself into her studies, and she became an honor roll student, an excellent student, very, very smart lady. And at age 18, she met a young man from Missouri, and his name was Lewis Till. And they together had their only child, her only child, Emmett. You can see a beautiful boy up in the corner there, and sitting next to her up and to the left there. And Emmett was born 9 months later after they got married. They separated in 1942 after Mamie found out that he had been unfaithful. They had a kind of a violent relationship, and eventually she obtained a restraining order against him. And after Lewis had violated it many times, the judge gave him a choice to either go to jail or go into the Army, and he chose to go into the Army in 1943. And then in 1945, she received notice from the War Department that while serving in Italy, her husband was executed due to willful misconduct.
Wow.
And her attempts to learn more were blocked by the United States Army bureaucracy. And the full details of his criminal charges and execution emerged 10 years later when he, along with an accomplice, Fred A. Murray, they were both executed, had been charged with raping an Italian woman, but both men were tried and convicted by a U.S. Army General Court Martial, and their sentence was death by hanging. And their sentence was appealed but denied. And later on, there was someone kind of analyzed this and looked into it. It was later an analysis of the trial by John Edgar Wideman would call Louis Till's guilt into question. So we're not sure if what happened. And it's very ironic considering what happened to his son.
Yes. Wow.
So in 1955, when Emmett, this beautiful boy, was 14, his mother put him on a train to spend the summer visiting his cousins in a place called Money, Mississippi. And she never saw him alive again. Her son was abducted and brutally murdered on August 28, 1955, after being accused of interacting inappropriately with a white woman. They said that he whistled at her. That is widely known to be not true. But this woman I think she's still living, and she has never said it wasn't true. She kind of refuses to acknowledge that, but that has been kind of established since then. The following month, Roy Bryant and his half-brother J.W. Millam faced a trial for Till's kidnapping and murder, but were acquitted by an all-white jury after a 5-day trial and a 67-minute deliberation. One juror said, quote, "If we hadn't stopped to drink pop, it wouldn't have taken that long." So really disgusting, flippant attitude there. Only a few months later, in an interview with Look magazine in 1956, protected by the law of double jeopardy, Bryant and Millam admitted to killing Emmett Till. For her son's funeral, Mamie Till insisted that the casket containing his body be left open. Because in her words, "I wanted the world to see what they did to my baby." In that picture on the right at the bottom, where she's on her knees and people are holding her because she's collapsed, that is when she's meeting the coffin that is coming back from Mississippi. Tens of thousands of people viewed Emmett's body and photographs, and it circulated the country. And through the constant attention it received, the Till case became emblematic of the disparity of justice for Blacks in the South. The NAACP asked Mamie Till to tour the country relating the events of her son's life and death and the trial of his murderers. After her son's murder, it became quickly evident that Till-Mobley, Mamie Till, was an effective public speaker, and she enjoyed a close relationship with many African American media outlets. And the NAACP hired her to go on a speaking tour around the country and share her son's story. And this was one of the most successful fundraising tours of the NAACP's history. Later on, she graduated from the Chicago Teachers College in 1960, and she married Gene Mobley. That's why her name is Till-Mobley when later on. So they married on June 24th, 1957, and she became a teacher, changed her surname to Till-Mobley, and continued her life as an activist working to educate people about what happened to her son. In 1976, she obtained a master's degree in education administration from Loyola University in Chicago. And in 1992, Till-Mobley had the opportunity to listen While Roy Bryant was interviewed about his involvement in her son's murder. With Bryant unaware that Till-Mobley was listening, he asserted that Emmett Till had ruined his life. How dare this young 14-year-old boy ruin his life? He expressed no remorse and stated, Emmett Till is dead. I don't know why he just can't stay dead. So again, just
no remorse
attitude.
Gosh.
Mamie and Gene Mobley remained married, happily married until Gene's death from a stroke on March 18th, 2000. And then on January 6, 2003, Till-Mobley, Mamie Till, died of heart failure at the age of 81, and she was buried near her son in Burr Oak Cemetery, where the monument reads, quote, her pain united a nation, end quote. I just wanted to add this little note that I heard on another newscast, because there's been Whoopi Goldberg has done a movie recently called Till that is supposed to be excellent. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to make myself watch this because it's important, I think. And, but I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be really hard. I was telling the ladies before we came on that I'm burning sage because it just infuriates me. I can't put it any other way. It just infuriates me. Emmett Till, this young boy, his gravestone has been replaced at least 4 times because of being defaced. It has been thrown in the Mississippi River. It has been shot with bullets. They also have had to replace a street sign that was named after him. They have made it into a bulletproof sign recently. In 2007, it was erected as a bulletproof sign because it was shot so often and defaced and torn down, etc. And it actually is. It commemorates the spot where his body was pulled from the water, and so that sign is a bulletproof sign now because it had been shot at and defaced so much. So, with all that said, this amazing mother and her ability to continue on to speak the truth, to have the dignity and the wherewithal to keep marching forward on behalf of her son with so many disgusting things that had happened in her life due to hate and racism, and then to become, a teacher, an educator, to try and help people understand. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what do you ladies have to say, and all of you in the chat as well?
Well, it's heartbreaking. It's beyond, you can still feel it today. It's so real and still present. And I did not know that about his father.
Yeah.
That story's nuts. Why would the American military kill him for something like that? That seems very strange.
Right.
That doesn't add up at all to me.
Right.
And I'm sure it wasn't true, as it wasn't true. Emmett didn't bother that young girl at the store that day, or where was it, a store? I think they were at a store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the pain of the mother is what is overwhelming. To lose a child to hate.
And the fact that that continued to this day, that they try to deface that marker. It's like, what
are you doing?
Like, what? Like, is it because there's the hate is, and the guy had no remorse years and years later. it's like he felt justified in whatever his hate of a human being, taking this boy away from his. I just it is confounding.
Well, and I think that hate to that level, when it's uh, it's madness, right? It's to that level of madness. It really is a sickness. It's an illness. There's something that clearly there is something sick in the mind and the heart and the soul that is just, it's clear. It's just so clear that there's something wrong. That is not, it's not, I say it's not normal, but it is that level of hate for a young 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Because he has his skin is a color. It's just, it's a at that point, when it's at that level, it's an illness. It is a sickness. And that's not to take away from how they act and what they do. It's just saying that there is something going on with their heart and soul that is, it's an illness.
It is. Sherry H says she grew up in during the civil rights movement in the Deep South, and she witnessed atrocities every day. You can imagine. This is the one story that we know because it was the
mother who made us know her story, and thank God she did.
Mm-hmm.
Even if these people are taught hate, you don't have to go along with it. So, you could say these guys who committed the act, maybe they grew up in a hateful family, a hateful environment, but you don't have to be that way. They chose it. They went along with it. So that is a sickness. That is just, how do you kill a human? And they didn't even know if they had the facts right or not. They didn't care. They were going after.
They didn't care. They did not care. And even after they had the facts, they didn't care.
And what kind of little coward man kills a 14-year-old boy?
Yeah.
Right.
You are a coward.
Yeah.
And then you have this all-white jury, and you have
all-white jury.
So just pervasive, and
the system is it's still the system still is not working well. So, but like you said, Andrea, thank goodness for her, for Mamie, for speaking and telling the story, and her strength to go around and continue to speak her story and make people see her son in the coffin doing those things. It was what a incredibly enlightened way to bring truth to a broken system.
Yeah, she didn't have to say anything. She just showed them.
Mm-hmm. And it's nonviolent. And wake up, country, wake up, people, and her, again, her courage and her strength and her ability to, and I'm hearing her say, there was no other way I could go. I had, you come to a pathway and you come to this choice. I can do this or that. She's like, it's almost like I didn't have a choice. This was the only way.
I got the same thing, Debbie, that it was instinctive. It was her instinct to make people look, make people see.
Yes.
Because I feel like there were people that told that she had people on both sides, people telling her to close the coffin. It wasn't, dignified, or it wasn't. And then you had other people saying that would shock people into realizing, so she had people kind of pulling it, but she's saying she did not waver. She felt like it was her instinct to keep it open and make people see this.
You know, he was so honored by his mom's love for him, and that he did not want her to waver from that either. He was also directing her to keep that open, to show the people, to stop this from continuing. You know, this was all kind of like, so he was on board with that too on the other side. Because I feel like people were telling her, shut that coffin, you know, for his sake, you know, to honor him, and to, you know,
Right.
you don't need to bring any more of this to. And he was absolutely on board that she kept it open, to be that face, to be that, I guess people would call it a martyr or whatever. He understood it obviously on the other side, what was going on. I don't feel Mamie knew exactly how much it would change history and change the course of, like, the direction we were going, that she altered it, you know, so much. She didn't know that that was what was happening in the time of doing it. Of course, over the years, she could look back and know, but she didn't know in the moment. She literally was doing, like you said, instinct. Cheryl, thank you.
Cheryl, thank you. In honor of Emmett and Dr. King, thank you, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm.
And the world got to know her son.
Yeah.
You know, and the story. And I just see her, you know, hearing the news about her husband being killed, and then hearing the news about her son, and that vortex that she was in at that moment, where it's like, how are both of these men, or, you know, males, with the same fate? Yeah. What a, like a, it was such a, like a spellbounding, or I don't know the word, moment for her, where I think a lot of her strength came out of that moment, because because she knew it wasn't just her men, it was the other men and women, obviously, who were facing this. That inner strength of hers is like a lightning bolt.
Moon.
Yeah. Oh, Moonbeam Vacation.
Thank you. Thank you. Blessings to you.
Exactly, Rhonda. There's so many unnamed Emmett Tills the world doesn't know, but at least we know.
We know.
Emmett, and we all know that there's more.
Right.
So, you know, we did change our platform, so you guys are welcome to join as you are in the conversation here, as well as if you have questions for Mamie, you can also throw those in as well. She almost, I mean, it almost broke her.
Yeah, that's what I got too, like a
crack.
Yeah, it cracked her.
And in that, she had a choice to go ahead and lean one way or another, as far as allowing that, the pain of this, the brokenness of this, to completely take her under and just let that happen, or fight. And she rose up. And she does give credit to the love around her, the strength and love that came around her, to help her stand up. But yeah.
And having to look at her truth. So that's, I am truth. And you see this very emotional card with a fiery background.
Yeah.
We had to look at her raw truth when she's, you know, she's presenting her son with the situation he went through. And that's just a mirror back on society. So she showed us her raw truth, that was a reflection on society. And I keep hearing, so I got to say it. Why do humans think that they can think, one group of humans means more than the other? So
Mm-hmm.
because racism it's hate, but it's also declaring that someone else doesn't have value. Like those
Right.
men who did this decided that Emmett didn't have value.
Correct.
So who are you to do that? We
Right.
all think Emmett has wonderful value. We love him. How did they not see what we see? Love.
Right.
Who told them that they could?
There's the point right there, Andrea. Who told them? Who taught them hate? And how can we stop the teaching of hate? Chris Wicken says there's no statute of limitation on murder and kidnapping. They are thinking of charging the woman.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So
And
there's
she's like 80 or something now, right? I think she's quite. Well, maybe I don't know if she's that old, but I think they should charge her.
Yeah, because it's been pretty well established that it was not true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
here's a question too. When Mamie was living, did she ever feel Emmett coming to her?
Yeah, it helps if you put hearts by it, guys. Thank you so much. And all caps.
Yeah.
If you have a question, it just helps us to be able to read it.
I feel she felt her son. I asked, was it just in her dreams? And when you dream about something like that, no, she did feel his presence. I mean, any mother feels that bond with their child, even though they may be on the other side. She felt it for sure.
It was. Yeah, it was. He was like he was the fire in her. He kept that. He kept that fire burning in her, so she kept fighting for him, and and for this cause. She found a cause to put all of her pain and hurt into. That would be positive and that would be for him. So he was that fire that kept her moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other. And she's like, there were many times I just wanted to curl up in a ball and disappear because I just could not walk the earth without him. But he was that little fire that just kept her walking forward and moving in honor of him.
Mm-hmm. I just had a conversation here with my pendulum, and they're both listening to us and watching the chat. And just so we all know, Emmett and Mamie are watching. And so I said, is there anything we can do? And it was to ask that this never happens again, that a parent never loses a child to hate.
To hate.
So right. Ask the Creator to make that happen, please.
And the Creator is within us, right? So
just
ignite that in everybody.
Right? Like send that vibration out.
Send it out.
Never happens again. Shouldn't have happened once, never mind thousands upon thousands of times.
I just love Emmett. He's so
I know.
Cute. I have to say, and he knows he's cute. Okay. And he he became the face of who we are fighting for, right? So he understood that, and so he's kind of smiling like I became the cute face that the fight became for, and that was okay, right? So like the how horrific and sad it all is. He's kind of going, I became the cute face of what we were fighting for because people would listen then, right? If you put someone who wasn't 14 and wasn't, you know,
Someone who
stories
looks,
were told all the time.
yeah.
But
His face is so sweet
he
and
became,
innocent. Anyone looking at his picture, I mean, what kind of monster hurts that?
yeah. He's like,
But he's
cute.
he feels like a piece of golden candy to me or something.
Oh, that's sweet.
And there's this question, did she get anything back from the murderers? And I'm not feeling like if they're talking about like money or like compensation like that. I feel like it came from others. It can't, support and love and organizations. And, I feel like it came in different ways, but it didn't come from them personally. At least that's what I'm getting. But what do you guys get?
She got to, because of who they were and how they acted, even, their confessionals in the end, what she got was to show everyone that about this hate and this evil. So she didn't get her son back, but she got to shine a light on something that maybe not everyone was looking at or didn't know the depths of depravity about it. Like a 14-year-old kid, really, you're going to hunt him down because he maybe whistled at somebody. He didn't steal anything. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't do it. You know what I mean? And we all know he didn't even whistle at her. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's being,
Right.
I like what Chris said here. This is a massive problem, and we are all part of allowing it to persist. Thank you. Until we stand up to all these people in the culture that they've created, that creates so much death, it will persist. Yeah. And hopefully part of what we're doing tonight is taking that stand.
Right.
But we need to continue to be that voice. George Floyd reminded us, right? And we all got on the voice wagon, right, for a bit. But we need to keep that voice risen.
And she's saying this will keep happening. These people, there are people that have, how to put this, probabilities in their life path or in their life contracts or their life path, however you want to put it, that as long as this persists, as long as we allow it to persist, it will keep having these, what I would say, opportunities to turn around, to stop, to make it better. We're going to keep having these people who will come in and basically show us, try to teach us.
It's still not balanced. Yeah, that we're
right.
not.
So this will keep happening. Though there will be George Floyd's and there will be, Emmett Till's until we get it. And so she's letting us know that. So you're right. It's a persistent thing, and it will persist until we stop it. And this level of hatred, where you take someone's life, whether you're on the police force or you're just a regular Joe thinking you know best, it can't exist. We have to stamp it out. And I hate to say like we have to like make something not exist, but we really, really do. It can't be one of those things where it's like, well, they have their viewpoint. It's like, no, that level of hate, that kind of hate, it bubbles up and it becomes something, and we're seeing it, right? Even with political parties, that violent tendency, that different level that we're talking about that robs people of their life, their health or whatever,
Yeah. And the times that you see that, Kim, is when someone is drowning and you go to save the drowning victim and they kill you, right? They drown you while you're trying to you see that in a drowning victim where they are taking everybody down. It's that desperate thing, but what are they fighting for? That's where we need to what we need to look at. What is it that they feel like they're losing here? That
Right.
they have to take out people or be so
Right.
hateful and kill, or this hate. What is it
Right.
that they're trying to save themselves from?
Keep everything for themselves. I don't know. Like, can't they share? Can't we all just share the
I
earth?
mean, how
Right.
is it that, yeah,
And like, why did they have to kill him?
yeah,
Why? Okay, catch him because he whistled at a girl. He's a
Right.
14-year-old kid. You could have just caught him, but you didn't.
even though he didn't even whistle at a girl, but
Even though he didn't do it.
yeah,
Right.
Why couldn't you just caught him? Why did you have to be so hateful in what they did?
So
Doesn't
she's
compute for me, right?
yeah. She's pointing out Mississippi,
okay.
and she's saying she knew in her heart going down there. She's saying there is a level of pain in our nation that comes from very, very old, through war and things that have happened in our history, slavery, these things. She's like, they are deep, deep. She's showing us like these deep caverns of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying what she knew going down there. So she is pointing out that this is a portion of the country that there is a deep, deep pain in our nation that kind of settles in that area of the country, and that we need to address it. It has to be addressed. We cannot just pretend it's not there, or pretend or just the South needs to get over it, or they need to get over it, they need to get over slavery. That we can't push it under the carpet. And she's talking about how they're trying to not have they're trying to change even that history. But she's like, that's the opposite of what needs to happen. It all needs to come out and come up, and we need to talk about it and address it and heal. She's saying heal from it. We never healed. That's what it is. We've never healed as a nation. We never did it. We just tried to shove it under the carpet.
Yeah, cover it up, push it away.
That's because we, in general, are. If you were going to diagnose this nation, it's a narcissistic nation, and they will never. It's really hard to get a narcissist to admit they've done wrong. It's not their fault, right? It's never their fault. A narcissist. Never. And if you have an energy of a narcissistic, as a whole nation, to get them to admit all the wrongs that we have done as a nation to people and people groups, to our fellow human beings, when is that healing going to come? We need to take a look at it and stop trying to shift the narrative into to make our nation look good. I mean, what is that for? What is that even for? Like, no one. We need to take responsibility for how we have treated our fellow humankind, as a nation, building this nation.
Absolutely. And Dawn, apparently, I didn't see your question, but apparently she did, because I think that's what she was answering.
Oh.
The Republican, but the anti-history stance. That's what she's talking about. She's like, it's that they're going in the opposite direction of where we actually need to go. We need to dig in and feel and understand and fully grasp the gravity of that part of our history.
And deal with it.
Look in the mirror. It's hard to look in the mirror when you've done a bad thing, but we have to do it. We have to do it.
Yeah.
they're both Emmett and Mamie are both so gentle and quiet. You feel that? Like just, they're like, they're just sitting, watching this, very, very quiet, very gentle. And I think kind of just like, how's this still happening?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
It's like he just said, wasn't I enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
He
Oh.
did. I did feel that they both were kind of bringing in that there has been positive change. There has been a little bit of change, but it's such a long way away, but there has been change. He said, with the George Floyd, when that happened back in his day, no one cared. No one would, it wouldn't hit the news. No one would have cared. He said now, because of the shift and a positive shift that's happened in these years, 50 years or however, it did move people to speak up and like that. And he said back then that would have been a zero. So I feel
And
like
that was worldwide too, with George Floyd. Like you saw protests
exactly.
everywhere. So that is a
Worldwide.
huge movement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Emmett.
That's right. So Carolyn Adams asks if has Emmett been reincarnated again?
I'm getting a not yet. Mm-hmm. There is plans, but not yet.
I got, yeah, I had the same thing, Debbie.
I don't think she's come back either. I still see them together.
Yeah, me too.
Very, like they're like sitting together and they're very quiet and they're just so gentle.
There's also another woman with her. I wonder if it's her mother, or I feel like it's another or a grandmother, but I feel like it's either a mother or a grandmother because I feel like there's another woman with them. But I feel like it's just like in support of them. I don't feel like she's saying much. I feel like she's just there, but I am picking that up. So,
I mean, it's just such a gutting, heartbreaking story. It's just awful.
She's talking about violence towards each other as well. Like, so violence within groups towards each other. So really backing up that, women fighting women or, violence within your own culture groups. Come together. She was really pushing the narrative of coming together and uplifting one another instead of tearing each other down within even your own little family groups. Don't fight with one another. Be uplifting, support one another in each other's journey. She's kind of she's kind of showing in response to that husband that was abusive to her. That needs to stop. That kind of behavior within couples and that dominance and whatever that is, even at that level. So I think she's bringing in some of this, just kind of like, okay, where do we start? Well, let's start here. Let's just start in our own little family unit.
Right.
How can we support one another and uplift each other instead of tearing each other down, even at that level? So I feel like that's what she's kind of bringing in with that message. Is like, where do we start? At home.
Yeah.
Yeah, being harmonious with people in our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because that has a vibration. You can, the friction that you have when you're in a fight with someone or whatever, you can feel it in the room or in the house or whatever. Right. Same with harmony and love. You can feel that and that can emanate out, right? And so if we're all doing that from the core in our little homes and sending out love, if we're all doing that, isn't that going to be nice? And have a nice heartbeat, right? You can feel
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the Gandhi, right? Be the change you want to
see
see.
in the world.
That's the same. So I think that's a great message. Carolyn Adams asks, have they been freedom fighters before? I feel like she's kind of like, but just like you have a love for the earth, people that come to earth, you have a love for the earth, that you have a love for, you develop. Some people change around, but a lot of times people have like a affinity or a love for a country, so they keep coming back to that country, or a people, so they keep coming back into that culture.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they have been a part of their culture's history. So
I was just going to say,
yeah.
I don't know if they were freedom fighters, but they were Black before.
Yes,
So they did have other lives.
Time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I get that Mamie had a life before where she was this kind of strong person fighting for the rights. I didn't get that Emmett was, but she definitely, I got that she might have even been a queen or a pharaoh or something in the past, right? Something very powerful. So no surprise that she was powerful here too.
Absolutely.
This time around. Wow. I'm getting something, teach by what you see, or let the whole act of her showing Emmett was to teach with what we see, right?
Right.
Didn't need any words,
Mm-hmm.
didn't need anything else. Just you just saw him and it spoke for itself.
And the truth of it, right? You can't deny it. You can't deny it. It's right in front of your face. You know, yeah, you're right, Andrea.
How does a man, I don't know how old these men were, let's say 30, whatever age they were, I don't know. How do you have anything in you to harm a 14-year-old? It's just such a foreign concept, right? Like, sure, maybe they want to scare them off. Okay, get out of here, kid. Don't come around here, right? But they went so hatefully beyond any measure.
She's saying, but what she's saying, thank you. But she's saying that he was, it was, they didn't see him as a 14-year-old. They saw him as a threat and a future Black man.
Oh,
that's what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
But then what's the threat?
That's it. That's it.
What's the threat if he's a Black man? What's the threat?
Right.
There's no threat.
Well, and that therein lies
it's a false narrative.
Exactly.
There's no threat.
Right. Perceived threat, perceived threat. Because you're right, there is no threat. Of course there's no threat. But we see it now. We see it, they're trying to stop Black and brown people from voting because it's a threat. It's a threat to power. I guess it's a threat to having what they think they have somehow. And it goes back to that idea that the scarcity, there's not enough. It's that life is a pyramid rather than a plateau, right? Only one person could be at the top and everybody needs to, there's only so much and I need to have it and I need to get it and I need to hoard it and I need to, it's that idea that there's scarcity and there's not.
Excellent point.
We need to lift each other up onto the plateau. There's plenty for all. We just
plenty.
There is.
Yeah. But they don't see it. They don't see it that way.
Greed and possession and
power.
This is mine and you can have it.
Addressing the cycle of hate and violence within your own homes. She's showing me the violence in these men's homes.
Mm.
Like, not that it's an excuse, but she's showing me a cycle of violence in these men's homes growing up. They violence upon them. That's what they knew. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you stopping the cycle of violence in your own home. It starts at home. She keeps bringing me back there.
But she's right, because we know that with the shooters that we've had, they are usually have beat up their girlfriends or beat up their wives, or they have a history of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
So she's right. There's a correlation there, and it has to do with just respecting human life,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a woman or a man and respecting life, period. An animal, respecting life, period.
Mm-hmm.
Is that taught in school? Respect everyone's life. Doesn't matter what they look like on the outside. It's respecting life.
Exactly.
That's what I felt like. How did these guys have it in their head that it was okay to take his life? That doesn't equate. It obviously doesn't equate for me or probably anyone watching this. How could they think that?
Yeah.
Right.
Where is that even okay? But the way that they talked about people and humans not being human, and I mean, you're hearing it right now being preached against the LGBTQ community, that they need to be unalive. So it's being preached from pulpits that way. So that,
Well, we have to send out love 10, 100, 1,000, a million.
Yes, that's
hate, right?
Let's
oversaturate with love too.
Yeah, overwrite it.
Right?
Absolutely.
And if you took someone who's full of hate and there's like 100 of us around them who are all love-based beings, and just hug them, at some point they would break, right? They would break the hate.
Exactly.
Because of that energy of the love. Like, I don't know if it would take 40 years of hugging them. But, that's how it, there would be no choice but to break the hate.
Right.
So let's start sending that out and surrounding them with love and break that hate. Because it's just got to stop.
Right. Yeah. And we know that love is more powerful than hate. We also know that there are more good, kind, loving people in this world than not. And so we are the majority. So you're right, Andrea. If we pull together and like you said, Debbie, start it here in your own heart, in your own home, your own community, and spread that love out, you're right. You send it out in that much and those huge amounts, it would absolutely make a difference.
I agree.
So I guess this might be a good one to end on, which is Spirit Watcher Suzanne asked, what roles do they have now?
Okay.
What are Emmett and his mom working on the other side?
Well, I get they're working together, and it's about human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Help guiding us. They're watching the humans find our way.
I also feel like she personally guides a lot of teachers, or she's around a lot of teachers or something. But I do feel like there's something with her and continuing to kind of guide and help to support teachers, educators. On the other side, she's very worried about the level of responsibility put on to teachers right now, and the level of she says they're drowning. there's a lot of pressure, and um, she's worried. Yeah, she's trying to support them, help them, and lift them up, because they have a lot on them right now, and she feels like it's so important, and it's key to helping us understand each other, and understand the world, understand the country, understand things. And so I do feel like she does work in that, supports in that arena. But I think you're right, Andrea. I think they are working, absolutely working.
Well, yeah, the pendulum was rocking, yes, the whole time you were talking. And then I'm like, he's working with the students. And I got
Oh my gosh, yeah.
the pendulum.
You're right.
Right? Because
Yes.
they're still together. So she's helping with the teachers, he's helping with the students.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I got chills with that. Yeah, that's right. You're exactly right.
Oh dear.
There's also another level of energetic work that is different, that I'm going to describe it, you guys, and maybe you'll have better words. But there's like a network of unseen energy that goes. It's like a network over the planet or something. And it's like stuff that we've been working through, trying to get through, whatever, but they're snipping away, rewiring. They're helping rewire as we shift and expand. So they're clipping away at the lies and the ways that we have done systemically, how we've done things, but they're showing me this network that I've never seen before of energy, and they're snipping away of those things that aren't true. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's how they're helping teaching as well,
okay.
Right?
So they're
getting rid of the false narratives and snipping that away, and
rewiring.
Yeah,
and
because
the whole time they were telling me that, my whole top of my head was like numb. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because we've talked about, I think we've talked about here, and different people that we've talked to, that truth is a spiritual principle. Truth is truth. It's not something that can be massaged and changed and whatever. It is what it is. So I think that that makes sense to me, that truth has an energy to it. Truth itself has an energy to it, right? And helping to kind of maybe support and not support certain things that are happening. I think that's exactly what it would look like, Debbie, is that kind of cutting off from certain energies and then opening up certain energies, and that mixture going on where they're supporting. And it's not, I don't think it's cutting. I think it's not supportive of.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I think it is, that there is an energetic support and not support from the other side. And it's not that they do anything to it. It's just that they're not supporting it. So it gets cut off eventually. It stops.
Oh, okay. Yes.
What I could see with when you're both talking is like the wiring of the brain. So they're cutting off the synapses that do the hate or the false narrative. I can't explain it either, because it's a much bigger concept. Do you see that it's in I think it's part of it. It's the collective consciousness, and it's in individual brains.
I 100%, Andrea, agree. Because remember, I told you my head is filled. I feel like they're working here on the brain, but it's out here too. But yes.
And I think it's the new kids coming in. They are not going to have that same type of wiring. It's going to be different. They're not going to have those things, those hate things that we've had for generations. I think it's the new generations coming in.
Yay.
Yeah, Dancer got the same thing. She's like, they are
The
younger generations coming in are star season light workers, and they are.
Yay. Yes, reprogram and then reprogramming.
Yes, that's what I was kind of.
Yes,
you're the words I was looking for. Yes.
See, this is why this is a group.
That's right. Yes, exactly, Connie B. I see that in my grandkids and their friends. That's like Cassie when she was little, and she is not different from her friends and for the people that are around her. When she saw Hairspray, she could not conceive of the idea that these kids of segregation, basically. She could not compute it in her brain. It did not make sense to her at all. And that's always the way she has been. She has never, ever understood any kind of racism or otherism, or she really was. I mean, of course, we tried to instill that in her, but there is something, the way she's wired, that's just like, that does not compute at all. And I don't think she's different from the people coming in at her generation and the ones coming in.
Yeah, they just
don't see it the same way.
They're like, what? Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It just doesn't. It's like.
It doesn't. Exactly. And the kindergarten. So that's what they're trying to let us know. It's going to change. It's going to change. And it's one way or the other, right? Either we're going to get it right here finally, and we're going to start making the change, or they're going to send people in one by one to make the change and help us do it.
Mm-hmm.
That is wonderful.
I just saw that, Kim. That was great. Sending them in one at a time to come help her. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, wow. Amazing. Well, thank you, Mamie and Emmett. And what a remarkable mother and son team they are and were.
Just thank you so much for spending time, and the love that they're bringing in is just so wonderful. I do want to end with a quote from Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Please do.
True peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So not only, so we want peace on earth. We want, and we don't like that tension and all that, but it's not just that. It's also bringing in that justice piece is so important. And that's that equality of mankind. Yeah.
That's I love that quote.
Connie said you can use it tomorrow.
In
class.
It's amazing. Well, thank you, ladies. As always, I knew this was going to be a tough one, but we got through it.
It was tough.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you, ladies. And where are we next week?
We'll be over on my channel next Sunday.
Yay! We're going to be on Andrea's channel, and oops, where am I? What am I doing? All right, there we go. So we'll be on Lilac Lantern for those of you who want to find us next time. We'll see you then. Yay.
Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody in the chat for your questions, for your comments.
And our class starts as well, I think, right? Next week?
We have our class starting on the 23rd, Monday the 23rd. And especially for those of you who like Ladies' Night, it's going to be right after Ladies' Night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take our beginning course, it is starting up again Monday.
And you can go to freebirdspirit.com right there and register. There are some spots left.
Yay. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good week. Everybody, we'll see you next time.